It's 10:30 p.m. The lights in my apartment have been dimming over the past 2 hours, simulating an apartment-wide sunset. My thermostat is set to a chill 65 degrees. It's as calm and as quiet as it could be. I've abstained from caffeine, I've abstained from alcohol, I haven't eaten in hours, and have set myself up for a perfect night's sleep. I'm primed and as ready as I ever could be for the most restorative sleep of my life. And yet, my brain is still on. It's thinking about work. It's thinking about golf. It's thinking about the stock market. It's thinking about my next vacation. It's thinking about improving my already ideal sleep routine. It's now 10:45 p.m. and I'm less sleepy now than I was 15 minutes ago. And I'm starting to worry why I'm not falling asleep. I've started counting sheep. I'm counting so many sheep in my head, it feels like animal cruelty for the amount of mental space I'm wasting on the sheep. And I checked the clock again, and it's 11 p.m. And now I'm worrying that I'm no longer going to get the full 8 hours of sleep that I had originally planned for. I'm in bed, I can't sleep. Now what? Let's get into it. While all the environmental and behavioral strategies that I just mentioned are great at reducing your sleep onset latency, or the amount of time it takes you to fall asleep, sometimes I still struggle to fall asleep within 10 to 15 minutes, which is the average amount of time it takes for a person to fall asleep. And the top reasons why people don't fall asleep are stress, worry, or inner chatter. So today I'm going to detail the 3 strategies you can use to fall asleep once you're already in bed. So first, relax and visualize relaxing scenery. So we've all heard about the strategy of counting sheep. If you were to lay in bed and count sheep long enough, then your mind is going to get distracted from that worry, that stress, that inner chatter, and eventually you're going to drift off to sleep. But they've actually done studies on just this. So what they've had is they had participants split up into 3 different groups. They had participants that were in bed that were counting sheep, participants that were in bed visualizing relaxing scenery, and participants that were in bed and were provided no instructions. And what they found was that the group that visualized relaxing scenery fell asleep on average about 20 minutes sooner than the group that was counting sheep or the group that wasn't provided instructions at all. And the hypothesized reason for this is that counting sheep in your head is just too boring to do for an extended period of time, and your brain's gonna get distracted and go back to worrying. So instead, should we be visualizing relaxing scenery? So I think so. I personally haven't found a better method, either in the scientific literature or from my anecdotal experiences, better than this. So here's the process that I usually go through. Once I'm in bed, the first thing I'll do is start to relax all the muscles in my body. I'll start with my head, neck, and jaw, and work myself all the way down to my feet, just relaxing as much as possible. Second, I'll focus on my breathing, taking deeper and slower breaths. After that, third, I'll start to get into that visualizing of the relaxing scenery. Now for me, if I were to visualize myself on a beach, I still find myself getting distracted and going back to those thoughts about work or golf or things like that. So I need to think about something that's a little more stimulating. And what I found to be really effective is taking myself through my favorite hike. So I'll start visualizing myself at the hiking trail entrance, and I'll visualize nature. I'll visualize the birds chirping, the sun's out, it's warm, it's a great day for a hike, and I'll take myself through that hike, through each bend and twist and turn of the hike, looking at the various scenery. And what I found is that halfway through this favorite hike that I go on at night, I'm usually off in dreamland and I don't ever remember myself finishing the hike. 2, remove visible alarm clocks from your bedroom. Clock monitoring is a real problem. If you have a clock that's visible in your bedroom, you're likely going to be checking that and seeing how long it's taking you to fall asleep. And this checking of the clock is going to cause you to stress even more, worrying about how long it's taking you to fall asleep. And then it's going to extend the amount of time it actually does take you to fall asleep. And they've done tests on this as well. So they gathered a group of participants and characterized them in one of 2 groups, good sleepers or bad sleepers, based upon how quickly it took them to fall asleep before the study even began. They then split both the good sleepers and the bad sleepers into 2 groups. Group 1 had a clock in their bedroom. So as participants were falling asleep, they could check that clock to gauge how long it took them to fall asleep when they woke up the next morning. And group 2 did not have a clock in their bedroom. So when participants went to bed and woke up the next morning, they had to estimate how long they thought it took them to fall asleep. Meanwhile, an actigraphy was monitoring precisely how long it actually took them to fall asleep the entire time. And what the study found was that the good sleepers took on average 7 minutes to fall asleep when there wasn't a clock in the bedroom. Now, when the clock was present in the bedroom, it took them about 12 minutes to fall asleep, 5 more extra minutes. Now, it gets even worse with people who were already bad sleepers to begin with. The bad sleepers without a clock took 12 minutes for them to fall asleep. With a clock in their bedroom, it took them 24 minutes to fall asleep. And in both cases, good sleepers and bad sleepers, it was recorded that participants had a higher level of worry and they overestimated the amount of time it actually took them to fall asleep compared to the precise measurement. And this effect was so dramatic that the conductors of the study stated that clock monitoring appears to induce a state of insomnia in individuals who do not normally have difficulty falling asleep. So we can conclude that if you want to fall asleep quicker, you shouldn't have a visible clock in your bedroom. But then that begs the question, how do you know what time it is and when to get up? Well, as I've mentioned in previous posts, the optimal strategy is using a sunrise alarm or some smart light bulbs. So me personally, I have smart light bulbs in my bedroom. They're set on a schedule to start brightening up in the morning when it's time for me to wake up. And surprisingly, I've never overslept them, and they're just a great natural way to wake up without that morning stress of the alarm going off. And third, get out of bed and come back once you're sleepy. So this is a great strategy if the first two haven't worked. If you've already gone through the process of visualizing relaxing scenery and you don't have a visible alarm clock in your room, and it's taking you, if you were to guess, about 30 minutes and you still haven't fallen asleep, then it's good to get out of bed and go to a different room. Because if you spend too much time in bed attempting to sleep and failing, then your brain can start to associate the bed with wakefulness, which is a hard association to break. So if you were to guess about 30 minutes in bed and you're still not asleep, then get out of bed, go into a different room, and perform at least 30 minutes of a relaxing activity until you become sleepy again. And so these relaxing activities that you could do would be like deep breathing, light stretching, meditating, or reading. Any sort of these activities, perform them for at least 30 minutes until you are sleepy again. And once you start to feel sleepy, return back to bed. And this is going to retrain your mind to start associating the bed with sleepiness. And over time, this should become easier and the strategies should become less needed. So here are my final thoughts. Maintaining a sleep schedule, managing your light exposure, adjusting your environmental temperature, and setting up your sleep sanctuary are all extremely useful strategies and falling asleep quickly. But even then, sometimes you find yourself in bed and you're still not able to fall asleep because of the worry, the stress, or the inner chatter. What I found to be useful is first, visualizing relaxing scenery by taking myself through my favorite hike. Second, removing any visible alarm clocks from my bedroom to prevent clock monitoring. And third, when both of these strategies don't work, I'll get out of bed and spend 30 minutes reading, meditating, or light stretching until I'm sleepy and ready to go back to bed. These are the 3 methods I've found to be most useful once you're in bed and can't sleep. Thanks for stopping by and checking out my channel. If you like this video, let me know by hitting the like button. Any questions, drop them in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Lastly, I offer a free health kit, which has my top 10 sleep tips, 1 whole foods plant-based recipe, and a mobility workout that you can stream on any device. That is free. There's a link down in the description if you're interested in that. It also gets you signed into my weekly newsletter, where I provide the 3 most important things I've read, watched, or listened to within the past week. All of that completely free. Link down in the description if you're interested in that. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week.